JP, welcome back to the podcast. It's great to have you here.
It is great to be here.
March 20th, 2017.
Oh my God, you actually know that off the top of your head?
Well, no, I looked that up, so I would know the date. I'm not that good. You were here because you were essentially putting out your last book before you were retiring. Mm-hmm. And now you're back with a book getting ready to come out called Saving Hannah. Mm-hmm. What's brought you back? And do tell us about the new book.
I decided I wanted to be Cher. You know, she has all these farewell tours. So,
yes.
You know, but seriously, I am working on my degree in creative writing, which I will graduate with in April. So I figured, you know, I just paid however many thousands of dollars for that. Yeah, I should probably go ahead and use it.
Yeah.
And Saving Hannah. In 2017, RT was in Atlanta, mm-hmm. right? I live in Atlanta. So Elizabeth North from Dreams for the Press said, hey, come down and have brunch with us. Okay, that is always a trap, always. So I brought Paul, my new husband, and we went and had brunch with her, and she said, hey, you remember that Greek book that you were writing for me? Yes. How far along are you? I said, I don't know, 25,000, 30,000 words. She goes, send it to me. Let's see if we can make it into a novella. Well, no, you can't. So I read back through it and I'm like, okay, there's no way that we can make this into a novella. So I finished it, and that's Saving Hannah. But the funny part about it is they have this Dreams, Fun, Desires line. Mm-hmm. And she said, so Elizabeth calls me up when they started out this line, and she said, I want you to write a book for me for this Dreams, Fun, Desires line. Because, you know, my style just screams Dreams, Fun, Desires, right? Oh, yes, I would. Let's write some happy. So she said, I want you to write a chic. I'm like, I am not writing a gay Muslim. It is not happening. Pick something else. All right, a Greek tycoon. Okay. So, you know, 3 years later, it took me 3 years to write this book. We send it in to Dream Spinner. Here's the book that you asked for, that you asked me to write. And they took one look at that and said, you can't give this little girl leukemia. You can't do that in a Dream Spun Desires line. Oh my God. So they decided to put it out as a Dream Spinner book, and it comes out in December.
I was going to ask how the Greek fed into that, because Elizabeth saying that Greek book you were doing, I can't, and then Saving Hannah, I couldn't connect the dots. So
the premise is we have a guy, Thomas, who is a hacker. And, well, you know, he hacked for his company to show them that their data mining was bad, okay? So he goes to prison. While he's in prison, his girlfriend comes and says, I'm pregnant, you know. And so while he's in prison, his daughter is born. And the girlfriend dies in childbirth. So his mother is raising Hannah. And almost when his prison term is over, they find out that she has leukemia. So he has to watch from prison as, you know, his daughter is very sick and she's going through chemotherapy. And this is why this is not a Dreams, Fun, Desires book.
Definitely not.
But he had gone to Georgia Tech with a guy that had come in from Greece, an immigrant from Greece, and they were roommates. And, you know, the sparks were flying, and he freaked out because, you know, he's not gay. So he runs off, and 10 years later, the Greek tycoon guy, his name is Alex, he sees an article about Hannah in the newspaper, and he wants to help because he's, you know, still remembering that kiss and everything. So he calls Thomas, or he has his assistant call Thomas and have him come in for a job interview. And of course, Thomas can't find a job, especially in programming, because he's been in prison. So, you know, brings him in and proposes marriage instead. So, you know, marriage of convenience, Greek tycoon. I thought I had all the elements together, and it just did not work out.
There is a lot of Dream Spun Desire in there.
But no.
Leukemia is a bit much for a Dream Spun.
No leukemia for little kids in Dreams, Fun, Desires. So.
Now, this is vastly different from what you were writing before with the Survivor series, which was extremely emotional, extremely personal material to you. What brought the shift?
So anybody that knows me or has been following me knows that I had a very serious problem with depression. And I was very transparent about that on the blog. And, people responded to that because there are a lot of people that have problems with depression and, they understand. So about a little over 3 years ago, I found a doctor who figured out which medication was going to work for me and in what dosage. And this is what worked for me. Not all medications work for all people, but what worked for me was this medication, and it was a game changer. I did not know that there were people who could be happy every day. That was just complete. In fact, they had to put me on Xanax because I'm like, what do I do? How do you be happy every day? How weird is this, right? So they got my medication all straightened out, and about a week later is when I got my email from Match.com from Paul. So it was like, okay, we're gonna straighten you out. I believe in God, and I'm gonna straighten you out, and then I'm gonna send you a present because karma has not been kind to you. So we're gonna give you a little good karma, and that was the best karma.
And I think we mentioned the last time we talked that I have loved seeing this transformation in you, and because you are happy so often now, you come in and you're smiling and you're
right. It's like a completely different person. It's like doppelganger. It's weird.
I wouldn't have gone for a doppelganger, but
I've been kidnapped by aliens. I'm a pod person. Zia Laura put it really well. She gave me a hug and she said, "This is the first time I've ever seen you that your smile reaches your eyes." And she actually thanked Paul, who was doing his due diligence and meeting people.
Which is tremendous that you brought him to the crazy that is a Dream Spinner author workshop.
Oh no! I did not bring him. He brought me. I got an email from Dream Spinner that says in September we are going to have the Dream Spinner Author Conference at Disney, and he said, "You got to go to that, right? I mean, you're going to start writing again, so you really need to go to that, right?" Apparently. So he is at Disney as we speak. He will use any excuse to go to Disney, which is why we're moving to Orlando.
And you were married at Disney?
No. He proposed the week we went to Disney. We were married in his parents' backyard in baseball jerseys.
I remember. That's right. I remember the baseball jerseys from Facebook. Yes.
I had a Cubs jersey. He had a Braves jersey, and on the back they both said Gillum, which is my new last name. Mine said 10, his said 21, because we got married on October 21st.
I love that. That's so cool. How's it been picking up the proverbial pen again to do Hannah?
That actually hasn't been an issue. That's one of the reasons I came back to writing, because even though you walk away from it, the voices don't stop talking to you. And, I found myself scribbling in a notebook, and I have a notebook, and I got this idea. Oh, I got this idea. Oh, wait, I'm not writing anymore. But I got this idea, And I am currently writing a book with Rowan Speedwell. And it's been an absolutely wonderful experience because she is so much better than I am. So I'm learning a lot from writing with her, because she is very literary and I am very not. So it's been a really great experience. I mean, I got through one of our paragraphs that I was reading, and there was a word there, and I'm like, I think she misspelled this word. So I go Google, and Word didn't even know what it was. So I went and Googled it, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, this is the exactly perfect word. I mean, like, conceptually and, textually, this is the perfect word that you would use here. And I've never even heard of it.
Well, what is it?
Haint.
Haint?
Mm-hmm.
What does it mean?
It is, so the story that we're writing is kind of a ghost story, but kind of not. And it centers around not just a haunting, but it's a southern haunting, and it's set in Georgia. So it's a word about southern haunting. I'm like, where did you even find this word?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And it's awesome and terrible writing with somebody who is so much better than you, because you're like, oh my God, this is awesome. This book is going to be, wow, I really suck at this. You know?
And for Scrabble players out there, please use this word.
Right? Talk to Rowan Speedwell, because she knows everything.
Well, maybe don't play against Rowan Speedwell either.
No, I would never. It wouldn't take 15 minutes for her to beat me. But the ghost actually died in 1966, and since I was born in 1973, I needed somebody who could write history. And Rowan has written historical novels because she has a degree in history. So I said, I'm writing the story with this ghost. She goes, that sounds really interesting. She said, I can help you with the history. I said, I have a better idea. Why don't you come over here and start writing with me? And it's been a lot of fun.
Is this your first co-write, I believe?
It is.
Yeah. And I like how it was very organic how you kind of got there from help me with history to just come on over.
Well, Rowan and I are really good friends, and finding Zach was the reason that I wrote Aaron. Because, you think about what Finding Zach and Aaron are about, and you don't really equate that with a romance novel, Mm-hmm. You're looking at this going, this is 200 pages of awful and happy ever after, right? So reading Finding Zach opened that up for me, which is why Zach is in an Aaron book. He is in Spencer giving a talk. She let me borrow him so that he could give a talk at a conference.
That's very cool. I didn't know there was that connection in there.
I have Zach in there. I have a character wearing a Sinner's Gin t-shirt in another book.
Good old Reese Ford.
Mm-hmm. I have Mackie Sanders in a book. Anthony is listening to the radio, and an Outbreak Monkey song comes on the radio, and that is Beneath the Stain by Amy Lane. I like writing. I like nods subtle. So I like subtle nods to other authors because I'm a fangirl too. Mm-hmm. I love Sinner's Gin. I loved Beneath the Stain. As a matter of fact, that book came out as a serial, and I bought the first one when it came out, and none of the other ones were out yet. And I read this, and I'm like, I'm texting you and going, you have to send me the rest of this right now, because I'm going to kill somebody if I don't get to read the rest of this. And she did, because she's a nice person.
She's good that way, yeah.
But I also pimped the hell out of that book because I had read it and it wasn't out yet,
Yeah, because you get those amazing books, and it's like,
and it was just right up my alley because he was just broken. That's a horrible thing to say, but I like broken characters and watching them rebuild themselves. So that's the core going forward, is recovery romance. So the books going forward, they're still going to have that element of somebody needing to recover from something, some kind of trauma, but we're going to make that lighter. We're going to make it more romantic suspense rather than just 200 pages of I can't breathe like Aaron was. I've learned so much writing the Survivor series about how to write.
Mm-hmm. And now you're learning more. You mentioned you're going for your MFA now, and you also went to the Writer's Digest conference this summer. Besides writing the Survivor series, how has now all this formal education, we'll call it, also helped move you forward and kind of got you into getting ready to write this romantic suspense?
So it's actually a bachelor's degree. I did not have a degree at all. And now that I have a husband and 3 children, I thought that might be a good idea in case I lost my job.
And I just jumped completely to a graduate degree.
I appreciate that. The bachelor's degree, I've come across a lot of interesting things that I didn't know. There was one class on business, how to pitch, things like that. And I'm writing like scripts. I have a script writing class. I have a nonfiction class, which is going to help me write blogs. I had a popular and contemporary fiction class, which is what makes Hunger Games so popular? What makes Gone Girl so popular? What are the elements that they are doing that makes that so popular, and how can you leverage those in your own books? Mm-hmm. Why is The Road so popular? Oh my God, I pay people not to be depressed, and I had to read The Road.
Oh geez.
These are 2 people meandering for an entire book. Here's the book. The Writer's Digest conference was really fascinating because the only conferences I had been to were either romance or gay related, like GRL and RT and RWA, and to get a completely fresh perspective on things. I took a class with Stephen James on suspense. He is a suspense writer, and there are so many elements that you can use from that in a romance novel, because it's all the same thing. It's all keeping the pages turning. It's all like, oh my God, what happens next? Oh my God, don't kill the dog, you know? That was Rowan's only rule. I can't kill the dog.
Well, Terry Michaels said that the other day, too. It's like, you can't kill the dog, you can't kill the baby, you know? You gave somebody leukemia, but, you know.
She goes into remission. It's okay. It's okay.
How did you pick romantic suspense as where to go? Was it just kind of a natural place after the Survivor series to keep the suspense up and the tension and the angst a little bit, or?
So I will admit something really horrible. I don't read a lot of romance. I read Lee Child, I read Stephen King, I read Douglas Preston and Lincoln Child are some of my favorites. These are the books that I read, that I love, but I don't want to go write a book like Lee Child. I don't want to go write a book like Douglas Preston, because I want to stay with Dreamspinner, which means it has to be an LGBT book and it has to be a romance. So what's the best thing to do there is to meld those together and make it a romantic suspense. Plus, my older books, they have this element of just grabbing hold of you and holding on in an emotionally traumatic way. I mean, my Facebook group was the JP Barnaby support group. It actually said the JP Barnaby support group, because after you read my books, you need therapy. And I wanted to take that same emotional intensity and put it into something else. And the best segue to that was romantic suspense.
But yet what you're co-writing with Rowan is not.
It is not. So we are going to balance contemporary with romantic suspense. All of the books won't be romantic suspense. Some of them will be contemporary. And yes, I promise I will write some BDSM books. Because there is a BDSM call going up from Dreamspinner because of that Dreamspank thing, right? Do you remember that?
Yeah, that was
the
a
April
great
Fool's Day
joke.
That backfired a little bit, and all of these people are like, wait, what do you mean Reese Ford isn't going to write BDSM? What? Okay. But she included Casey Welch, she included me, so it was very plausible that this was going to be a thing, right?
We totally bought into it.
I felt so bad that there wasn't actually a book behind that cover, so I wrote a short story. Here, please don't kill me. But yeah, they're going to do a call for BDSM or BDSM books, and I promised Elizabeth that I would give her a novella series.
How many books do you think we're going to see from JP a year?
So Amelia Vaughn is our new marketing director, and she and Elizabeth have told me that I will be giving them 4 books a year.
Okay. You've been told, and now you must execute.
I have, and I'm a good subby girl, so I do what I'm told.
Do you get to turn in any of your work for Dreamspinner, and do they get to find their way into your classes?
So I have not done that, only because I think it's cheating. But it's really funny because I have found that, because the first thing you have to do is, hi, my name is Trish and I am not an alcoholic, kind of thing. And so I find that in that first post, if I mention that I have 12, 13 published novels, that it goes a little smoother. But I have written a gay-oriented story. I had to write a literary story for creative writing, and at the same time I was taking a Shakespeare class, which, dear God. So I took one of Shakespeare's plays, and the name of it will come to me in a minute, and Much Ado About Nothing. And I took that and the concept of that and wrote about a guy who had been thrown out as a kid. Don John comes back and screws up his brother's son's wedding just to get back at them for throwing him out. So it was like a take on Much Ado About Nothing, but with a gay twist to it.
Did you get an A? I hope you got an A.
Yes.
Very good.
I actually have a 3.98 GPA going into my last 5 classes.
Congratulations.
My husband's like, you are such an overachiever. Because it's a big deal to me. So I am going to graduate summa cum laude.
That's awesome.
Which means I probably don't suck. At least at that.
Well, 12 books, successful books, headed off now into this new branch of JP's career. I think you got something going on there.
I'm doing okay.
We've got, I don't know why I can't remember. I wanted Surviving Hannah, Survivor series. It all mixes up in my head. Saving Hannah. Plus you've got the ghost story with Rowan. So what's coming up next in the sequence of events for your books?
So during my meeting with Elizabeth this weekend, I committed to 4 books. And the first one is a book that I am writing with Rowan Speedwell, who is amazing. Way better than I am. So we are writing a book about a guy that inherits a bookstore when his father dies. And when he goes into the bookstore to kind of take a look around, because he hasn't been there since he was, younger, and his dad would read to him, and he's having this whole, reminiscing emotional experience, and finds the bones of the owner, the original owner of this bookstore, and out pops his ghost. And so it's there's got a lot of camaraderie there. The ghost is a 62-year-old black gentleman named Henry. So he's got some fascinating history because he died in 1966. So he's got this just fascinating history. And Rowan she has a degree in history. She writes historical novels. So when I came to her and I said, I want to write this book, but I'd rather do anything than history. This was my worst subject in school. I hated history. Can you help me? Can you help me figure out this character? She goes, yeah. She's so excited, and she starts talking about how he's going to do this and how he's going to do that. And I'm like, wait, I have a better idea. Here is the document. Just start writing stuff in there, and we'll co-write this book. And that's what we've been doing. It's been so much fun because she and I are such good friends. So there's that. There is...
Is there a date yet for that? Or
it's not even done yet.
Not even done yet. 2019, maybe. 2020, somewhere in there.
It is due in November. Okay. But we just have... The only book that is done is Saving Hannah. And that is already through the ARCs, already through editing. We are just waiting for the publication date, which is December 18th. But we're going to bounce back and forth between contemporary and romantic suspense because... I do write both. So the ghost story is contemporary. It just happens to have a ghost, just like it's, contemporary and just happens to have a dog. It's not paranormal in any way because he's not going to fall in love with the ghost because I don't know how to make that work. The next one is a romantic suspense. It's about a stalker, and it's such a cool idea. We've already talked about this, so I'm not going to reveal what it is.
I know what it is. It's awesome.
It's so awesome. There is a celebrity chef, and we have this poor kid who, he's an immigrant, and I actually have a friend who's from Venezuela who lives in New York, so this is kind of based on him a little bit, who is running out of money, and when he hits bottom, he's going to have to go back home, so he is desperate to figure out how to stay in the United States, and this is pretty relevant right now,
yeah.
And so he enters a contest for a culinary school education because, as anybody who knows me knows, I am addicted to the Food Network.
Mm-hmm. I love those posts. I love them.
So
Trisha's watching Chopped right now.
Trisha's watching Chopped. Trisha's watching Beat Bobby Flay. So based on the shows that I have been watching, he is competing for culinary school education, and it goes on from there. And the last one is a spin-off of Saving Hannah, and I can't talk about what the spin-off is because it will reveal the end of Hannah, but that's the contemporary suspense with a couple of BDSM novellas thrown in to answer that call.
Fantastic. It's so good to have you back kind of in the fold, on the scene.
Thank you.
Again. What's the best way for folks to keep up with you online?
That would be at the website, which is www.jpbarnaby.com. You can come hang out with me on Twitter. It's at JP Barnaby. Or you can like the page, which is facebook.com/recoveryromance. Join the newsletter And that is off of the website. So there's a sign up on the website.
JPBarnaby.com.
JPBarnaby.com. Or you can come find me on Facebook. It's about to be Trish Gillum again because Facebook is changing all their rules. And you have to have a page, and you can only put your business stuff on your page, or they're going to beat you with something. And so you can come friend Trish Gillum.
Yeah, come find her as Trish and find out what she's watching on Food Network, because it's...
And what she's making.
And what she's cooking.
I actually make fresh pasta with my...
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it's crazy. I make chicken and dumplings, actually roll them out.
I've occasionally wanted to come to your house for dinner.
Come on by.
And when you move to Florida and we're in Orlando, we'll just drop over sometime.
Absolutely. In fact, I was here starting Tuesday because we are apartment hunting, and we're staying with my friend Justin, who lives in Celebration. And I said, while I'm down there, to say thank you, would you like for me to cook for you? Yes, I would. What would you like for me to make for you? I don't care. Anything. Because I haven't not liked anything that you've made yet. Okay. So I made him chicken parm.
There could be another career in here for you if you ever want it later,
And the funniest thing about this is I learned how to cook because I started dating Paul. I had never cooked before then. I was on pizza rolls and Diet Pepsi, and I did not know how to cook. And I figured, Southern guy, mama's cooked for him his whole life. I need to learn how to cook. So I did.
Very cool. Love it. Well, JP, thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah.